Westworld, Westworld, how art thou confusing? But it is an awesome damn show, and we did get two big revelations this episode. So hey guys, it's Chris, and this is obviously going to be my Westworld episode 9 review. So let's jump in and discuss, break it down, this convoluted timeline, and we also got two big revelations, basically two big theories confirmed. Alright, so HBO continues this little trend of making episode 9 in these 10 episode series like Game of Thrones and Westworld kind of the big epic season finale almost, where you have episode 10 kind of being the wrap up and set up for the next season, and they continue this with Westworld for sure. So let's jump right in. We start off with Maeve, and she is back in the lab after being captured last episode. Bernard starts to put her in diagnostic mode, and Maeve realizes something's up with him and realizes he is actually a host, and he had not remembered himself after his last memory wipe. So now he remembers once again that he is actually a host, and Maeve starts to control him with voice commands and basically says, "You're going to release me back in the park. I have a date with an outlaw and I'm running late already." So she continues her quest to build her army. We have Dolores and William. They are captured by Logan, and they are sitting there in this encampment somewhere, and basically William is telling Logan, "Look, something's going on with this girl. She is not the same as the rest of them. She knows things. She remembers things. I think we should help her." And Logan's kind of like, "Are you fucking crazy? She is an android built for this park. We can't just smuggle her out in your luggage. And you're supposed to marry my sister, by the way. You remember her?" And Dolores actually has a pretty good line here. She says, "Why do you all assume I'm trying to get out? If the world's so great out there, why are you all clamoring to get up in here?" And then we go back to Bernard after he finds out he's a host once again from Maeve, and he apparently breaks in Ford's office to find out some things. Apparently he set up a meeting with Ford down in the basement where they keep the livestock, and basically holds Ford captive with the help of Clementine. So apparently Bernard cannot pull the trigger. He's not programmed to, but Clementine can, or so he thinks, and he demands that Ford give him all his memories back, all the way back to the beginning when he was created. Kind of sets up the episode, and we kind of see it through Dolores' eyes, so I thought that was a pretty cool way of doing this in this show. And on top of that, we did get confirmation that Bernard did in fact kill Elsie apparently, and that was under Ford's command. So RIP Elsie, and like I said last video, hopefully we'll see her again as a host at least, because we see Bernard being recreated. Elsie's supposed to be on vacation. We did get a scene with Stubbs where he actually goes to track Elsie because apparently her iPhone cut back on in the park again. He goes to investigate. He gets attacked by natives, so now we don't know what the hell happened to Stubbs, whether he's hurt, he's just captured, or whether he's killed, but they wouldn't respond to voice commands either. So this is likely set up by Ford because anybody that knows anything seems to be disappearing lately. And of course Stubbs kind of knew something was up last week after talking to Bernard about Teresa, where Bernard basically said, "No, I didn't know her at all," when Stubbs knew he was full of shit. He knew something was going on, so I told you last week he was probably in some damn danger. Then we go back to Logan and William, and we find out that the girl in the picture that Dolores' original father found was actually Logan's sister, and William is supposed to marry her. Logan is committed to proving to William, after he thinks he's going fucking crazy, that Dolores is nothing but an android, she's not real, and he proceeds to cut her stomach open, and that's the wound she's always reaching for apparently, that she keeps remembering, and he actually cuts her open, and you can see the mechanical parts. This obviously proves this is in the past with William, more robotic looking parts as opposed to what we see in the opening of this show when they create these with a 3D printer, and it looks to be regular bones and tendons and that type of thing the way they're 3D printed in today's Westworld, but it kind of gives you visual proof that this is the old Dolores because she's likely been rebuilt many times. Anyway, Dolores goes Harlem Nights on Logan and cuts him in the damn face and gets the hell up out of there.
Oh, you want to hit people with garbage cans. Now I got to cut you.
And then she starts hearing voices from Arnold again, and of course this is where it gets confusing because she keeps having these flashbacks to different timelines. One minute she has the wound, the next minute she doesn't, and she's out looking for her home, and that is this city covered by sand, the town with the church. It gets confusing because we see several different memories of this place. Like I said before, likely this was the first place in Westworld, the first little town in Westworld. This is obviously where some big incident happened, probably related to Arnold, and we see it basically in the present demolished. We see nothing left but the steeple of this church because it has been covered by sand apparently. But then again, Ford is also using it for his new storyline, so it's actually been rebuilt, I believe, in the present. We do see that with the current timeline at the end of the episode where it actually is rebuilt. So Ford is trying to do some kind of narrative based off an old actual storyline, likely involving Arnold, and of course this does involve Dolores and the Man in Black. We see Maeve get back into Westworld, and she meets up with the outlaw out on the outer skirts of town somewhere after he had robbed the place and has the safe, and basically proves to the outlaw that he is in fact a creation of these gods, these so-called gods being the techs in Westworld, the humans, and proves to him that she knew what was going to happen. She proves to him nothing's in the safe and nothing was ever going to be in that safe, and he started to remember things, and he actually believed her and said, you know what, I'll help you. How do we do it? And she says, we got to go through hell. And he's like, how do we get to hell? She said, that's the easy part. She kicks over a lantern and burns the damn place down. So they're going to burn to death to get back to hell, being the lab, the real world. But my question is here, if they burn to death, if she just wakes up on the table with Felix, I'm going to be a little disappointed unless they explain that, because she's going to need a complete rebuild. We go back to Teddy, the MIB, and the original host girl that William turned down, and I keep forgetting her damn name. But anyway, Teddy is getting to be sentient now as well, but she's almost ready, and basically the girl says, you're almost there, but you're not quite ready to help, and she takes the MIB's knife and kills Teddy, saying maybe in the next life. So apparently as they die more and more, they start to remember more and more and become more sentient. So Teddy's starting to come around. He's remembering the real truth, where he actually helped kill these people in this original city covered by sand. So we're starting to see all the pieces come together around this city and around this original incident, likely involving Arnold about 35 years ago. And then she proceeds to knock the MIB out cold on a fucking rock. The MIB wakes up, and he is basically tied to a noose, wrapped around a tree, and tied to a horse. And if that horse takes off, he is going to hang. He gets his knife out of his stomach just in the nick of time, cuts the rope, and the horse takes off. And then something surprising, a big revelation about the Man in Black happens. We see Charlotte come into the park wearing high heels and interrupts his story, and she basically confirms that he is in fact on the board of this company, and she wants his vote to get Ford out of there. He says, I don't give a shit what you do, vote him out, I don't care, you have my vote, just leave me the hell alone, I'm trying to finish this game. He actually is an owner, a shareholder in this company that owns Westworld, and this is obviously related to William and Logan and their company, because they talked about 30-something years ago in their timeline that their company was interested in buying into or buying Westworld completely. So we know now that links William again with the Man in Black, and that explains why Stubbs told us a few episodes ago that he can do whatever in the hell he wants. So this certainly explains why he gets special privileges, and now we know why he basically owns the damn place, or part of it. And of course, Charlotte mentioned that the satellite uplink thing didn't work, so this also shows that the Man in Black being on the board and owning this company was part of the whole conspiracy about smuggling data out of the park with Teresa and the whole satellite uplink thing that didn't quite work out. And then we get back to Logan and William, and Logan wakes up to basically carnage all around him. William has basically turned here, and this confirms the biggest theory since this show started, that William is in fact the Man in Black in the past. He basically says to Logan, you know what, don't call me Billy. He's killed all these people with the knife, and we've seen this knife many times very close up, and it is the same knife that the Man in Black in the current uses. He had killed all these hosts. This is way out of William's character as far as what we've seen before, but he basically says, now I figured out how to play the game. This fits right into the storyline as far as the Man in Black in the present. At some point they get back to the real world. He does in fact marry Logan's sister, I'm assuming, or somebody based off what he told us last week, and eventually he ends up buying the damn park, or part of it. As far as a shareholder, he is on the board. So it looks like Dolores was basically the catalyst here for make him realize something bigger was going on that made William essentially turn Black Cat and become the Man in Black. And then we get back to Bernard memories as he continues to get more and more information from Ford, and we're seeing this kind of play out through Dolores at the same time. So I thought this was an interesting way to do it, although a bit confusing. We see Dolores finds the white town with the church, and of course this is in the present and the past at the same time. In the past we see the white town, she walks into the church, she sees all these other hosts, including the girl with the Man in Black, and these are all the actual sentient hosts back in the day when they started to remember everything and start to kind of glitch out due to the voices in their head being Arnold at the time. Dolores walks in, she gets in the confession booth, she's in her old dress, of course, that shows you it's a different timeline, and she goes down a little elevator shaft that ends up being the old offices underneath the city. And remember, this is the so-called city covered by sand, and this is the same place where Dolores has been talking to Bernard this entire time, the old offices where Ford and Arnold worked as well. We see Bernard's first memory in the same place when Ford wakes him up for the first time. Now this looks to be probably 15 or 20 years ago, something like that, because we do see Ford here a little bit younger, but not quite as young as the original flashbacks that Dolores is having. So this actually took quite a bit of time, but it is confirmed Ford rebuilt his old partner Arnold as Bernard. Now, a lot of us suspected this. You know, there was the whole anagram thing with their names, Bernard and Arnold being anagrams of each other, which included their last names, by the way. But we do find out that Bernard was a recreation made in Arnold's image. So this basically confirms that all these conversations we saw Bernard and Dolores having in this secret location was in fact the real life Arnold when he was still alive. And we get the big revelation that Ford didn't necessarily kill Arnold, but the one who actually killed Arnold was in fact Dolores. Now, this could have still been ordered by Ford in some way with this storyline that went down with Teddy, but Dolores realizes that all these voices in her head are simply a memory of her talking to the original Arnold, who was the one to kind of set off the android revolution. Also, I did talk about a few videos back when I thought Bernard in episode 3 was a host. I talked about when he saw that original picture that Ford showed him in his office, that he was likely programmed not to see himself, and that turns out to be the case. We do see the picture again. This time there's a third person in the picture with Ford and his father, and that is actually Arnold, the original Arnold, who looks exactly like Bernard. So now he can see it now that he knows the truth. So this does confirm that Arnold was killed by Dolores and that Bernard was created in his image. And then this is where it got a bit confusing as far as the timeline goes, because Dolores goes back upstairs. She's still in the cowgirl clothes that she's been wearing with William in that storyline that's happened 30-something years ago. But we see her exit the church. This time nobody's in the church, so it obviously is a different timeline. And she hears somebody entering the church and she says William, as if she just left William, which happened 30-something years ago, but she ends up seeing the current William as the MIB walks in, and she realizes that she's seen him before too, but it seems to me that she realizes herself that William and the Man in Black are in fact the same person. She is in the present here, obviously, since the Man in Black is the one who walked through the door after she had called out to William. So I think she realized what we all realized, that they are in fact the same person. So she had kind of an oh shit moment. And then of course the episode closes out with Bernard and Ford finishing up their conversation. The whole entire time that Bernard thought he had Ford kind of cornered and held hostage with the help of Clementine and the gun, he had back doors in the programs that actually Bernard had put in there originally. He used against him, so he was in control the whole time. Clementine was never going to be able to shoot Ford, but he allowed Bernard to go ahead and go through with the whole process, hoping that when he became completely sentient again that he would choose to be his partner, but instead he tried to have him killed. So he in fact pulls a Maeve and walks Bernard through his own little narrative, has him walk over, take the pistol from Clementine's hand. Bernard can't resist, but he's trying to actually talk him out of it, and has him kill himself after he leaves the room. So R.I.P. Bernard. I'm not sure how they're going to explain this one, because this shit escalated quickly. In the first 6 or 7 episodes, we had no deaths. We just had a lot of things going on with the host, apparently. And now in the last couple episodes, we've lost Teresa, we've lost Elsie, we found out the real Arnold, how he died, and we see now that Bernard has died again. So I don't see how Ford, even though he's very, very powerful within the park himself, is going to continue to be able to go on this killing rampage and get away with it. So we'll see if the Man in Black finds out anything in episode 10 or perhaps next season and helps to kind of deal with that situation. So anyway guys, I really dug this episode. We had a lot of information, but we got those huge revelations. This basically did confirm that William is the Man in Black, something we all thought. This also confirms what a lot of people thought over the last, 6 or 7 episodes or so, that Bernard and Arnold were in fact the same person. Basically, Bernard was created in his image by Ford. We also see that Ford continues to be in control of everything. He's always 3 damn steps ahead of everybody. So this is a pretty damn good show. It's gotten really, really good. It's really intriguing. So I look forward to seeing how this plays out over the next couple seasons. So we'll definitely see what happens in episode 10 next week. I'm sure there's going to be a big twist here as far as this city covered by sand and the original events surrounding Arnold and this city and Dolores and Teddy and the Man in Black and William for that matter. We'll see if they put a little bow on it for us, but I think there's probably going to be a big twist, but give us a few more answers at least to help us set up season 2. So anyway guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What'd you think about the revelations? What'd you think about the timelines? Do you agree this confirms that the Man in Black is William? We did get his backstory, his connection to being on the board, and of course that connects to William and Logan, so I think that's pretty much confirmed. If you dig what I do here, please give me a like and a share, and as usual, thank you for all the support. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.